evening, everybody. It is the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank you so much for being here tonight, y'all. This is our weekly remote viewing show. And boy, do I have a couple of really cool targets for us tonight. I have two really awesome guys backstage waiting to come up in the studio. And what's up, David Pardue? I see you in that chat. Thank you for being here. And we're going to be looking into two targets pertaining to the secret space program tonight. And one of them is actually a part two. We're going to call it a part two, a continuation into Planet Angua. Angua, I think is how you pronounce it. We're going to hear more from Arkheim on that. But I have some really mind-blowing data for both of these targets. And I love doing these targets for Arkheim and for a lot of the people that are in the secret space programs and have memories of being in these programs, because maybe this can verify some of their experiences, okay, through these blind targets. Now, just to refresh everyone's memory, I do coordinate remote viewing targets, which are coordinates, which I'm just given a set of random numbers that are assigned to a blind target. And I get all this data out of these targets. And so, yeah, this is going to be a good one, y'all. This is a great show tonight. So if you guys would like to follow along with all of my shows and everything, please go over to my website. Y'all can find me over at thecryptidhuntress.com. And all of my social media links are over there. And all of the data for tonight's targets are listed on my Patreon. Just go over to the Cryptid Huntress on Patreon, and you can find it there. Thank you to all of my members. You guys mean the world to me. Okay. Also, I do have a shop. It's almost Christmas time, y'all. Go over there and hang out. Check out the goods over at War Woman Goods over on Etsy. I would appreciate it. I put some new stuff in the shop, and I have more to list, and I'll do that tomorrow. Tomorrow is kind of, I say a day off. I don't know if I really have a day off, y'all, but I got time tomorrow. And so I'll be updating that shop tomorrow. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, let's get the show started. Okay. Because I think we have a lot to discuss tonight, and we get to meet Bill for the first time tonight. So on this episode, Arkheim Ra has tasked me with the coordinate remote viewing targets of the planet of Angua and an intergalactic court trial. According to Arkheim, Angua is a desert planet similar to Arrakas from the movie Dune. If you guys have seen the movie Dune. This is a continuation of the CRV target for Planet Angua from January of 2025. And Arkheim has memories of assisting in supplying the planet with atmospheric water generators and giant purifiers for the aquifers after having their water and soil poisoned. According to Arkheim, a version of him took engineer Bill Teising, who Bill's here tonight, to this planet to assist in the mission. Bill is joining us to discuss the data, and he actually has the blueprints for the water generators, and he's going to share those with us tonight. Arkheim Ra is a starseed who was targeted for a super soldier espionage mind control program in the U.S. public schools talented and gifted tag program. He served at Montauk under Project Phoenix and has several alters which engaged with time travel and alternate reality programs in what he believes may have been a swap alternate reality. His alters have also worked with Nacht Waffen, Mars Defense Force, Solar Warden, Lunar Command, and more. Bill Teising is an electrical engineer and a good friend to Arkheim. He has invented something called the bubble. We're going to hear more about that tonight. You guys, please help me welcome to the show tonight my good friend Arkheim Ra. And
Hello.
Also, hey Arkheim, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And also Bill Teising. Hello, Bill.
Hey. Hi, Jessica. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Welcome to the Cryptid Hunters channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great.
Wonderful. Well, first of all, welcome back, Arkheim. And
thanks for having me.
Of course. It's so good to see your face again. And we always have the most interesting shows together. And great, wonderful remote viewing targets. And I know the audience loves it when you come on. And I think that we're able to verify some of your memories that you have the secret space program. Tell me a little bit about what we're looking into tonight.
So obviously the last time we talked about this, things weren't going very good. I was pretty heartbroken. Where we last left off with Angua was their soil had been poisoned and their aquifers had been poisoned by an invading force. And I didn't really have any positive news, I guess. I kind of thought that was like the end of it, maybe. But the other day, I had like but I don't remember. My memories are weird with this stuff. It's not like I remember everything I do. Like, but the other day, my phone was missing for the whole day. And for me, like my attitude, like, I mean, sometimes it's like nice to not have your phone almost, like, right? Like, I wasn't really like, too concerned about it. Yeah, so it's not like I was freaked out, but it was gone the whole day. And then I woke up the next day in the morning, and I had called my phone. It was right next to me. It was like on the bedstand next to the bed, and it didn't make any sense to me, and I knew something weird happened.
Whoa!
Because it was gone for the whole day. I mean, Kat had called it. It didn't ring, and then I was like, "Hey, when she woke up, I was like, can you call on my phone just to see if it rings? I'm just curious." And it did. So that was really weird. And so I did initially have the feeling that Bill had something, like Bill was there or whatever happened. But I couldn't really remember what happened,
Mm-hmm.
And then
you knew something happened because that phone it just kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was gone for a whole day. And I think I needed it in order to do certain things here on Earth. And I don't know exactly what happened, but like it's all a little bit blurry, but basically I remember that I got Bill. Bill, so he's an electrical engineer, and he builds stuff, invents things, kind of like a Nikola Tesla kind of guy. And so basically we there's this guy named Moses West. He makes these atmospheric water generators, which is technology from the SSP, from the secret space programs. And we actually went to where he was at, his house, and woke him up, and basically told him we needed his help to save like a planet, because we needed his water generators. So he helped us. I don't think he'd remember this.
No pressure, buddy. No pressure. We're just gonna go save a whole planet. Y'all, come on.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
One of the reasons why I waited to really talk about this, other than briefly mentioning it on my Patreon, is because it is so crazy, all the stuff I'm saying here. Like, it sounds like I'm just talking myself up. But it happened, and you confirmed that with your remote viewing, and then Bill is an actual electrical engineer, and when I was telling him about all this stuff, it made sense to him. And so essentially, like, what it was is where we had last left off is they poisoned the aquifers, and so all these people were gonna die if something didn't happen. So Bill and I went to some sort of moon. It wasn't Angua itself, but this guy who had a people, I guess you could say. They had a colony on Angua. So it's not like they lived on the whole planet's surface or anything, but they did have a colony there, and it was under siege because of what was happening. And so they did have some common vested interests there. And this invading force, it was obviously not in their best interest to have some invading force take over the whole entire planet and make it so nobody could drink water and stuff. So we basically came to them with these schematics. And it's funny because Bill wore sunglasses the whole time. And it was really mysterious, and had a briefcase that he carried around with all the schematics in there, and I had to translate for him because none of them spoke English. It was like some fucking space language. I don't even know what language it was. I don't even think it's a language that people speak on Earth. And yeah, he met with some engineers from that guy's society and basically had to figure out like which factories could be used to build them, like what materials, like where they'd come from, everything else. They had to figure out all that crap. They couldn't just magically make these machines appear. They had to get the parts and all the materials to do it. But we did figure that out. And it was a group effort. Um, and basically, yeah, we started there's these we'd go to certain parts of the aquifers to put in these like giant filter things. Bill would probably be able to explain it better than me, but it's gonna take, I guess, like 800 years for the water to be able to be drinkable again. But it's better than just like letting the water just be poisoned forever. And then yeah, we helped them with cleaning the soil, some of the soil, just getting rid of it, replacing it, and giving villages and towns and stuff these atmospheric water generators. In some cases, causing rain for their crops so that they could have grow food. And because that was honestly a big part of how they grew food on the surface of Angua. The humans that had been there for a really long time, they grew the food through a lot of it. They're using like cloud seeding and geoengineering in order to even be able to grow food on that planet. So we help them with being able to do that again and all that, and yeah, just help them slowly heal, and you know, yeah, I don't know if you have any more questions on that. There's also target B, but that's the first target. Was the first target I gave you was just like this whole operation. Really, it was kind of a broad target. It was us going there and bringing them the water generators, so that they can drink water. That was really the target. And then the second target was, I'm just gonna name names. It is what it is. The person is who they are. It's literally Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu was put on trial in an intergalactic court, and Israeli Defense Force. So basically, Israel was the colonizing force that was trying to take over Angua, which was discussed in the last episode. And I'm not trying to be polarizing or anything like that. I don't think anybody really likes the guy. I don't think there's anybody upsetting. But I mean, it's pretty unpopular character right now. So there was a time where maybe not so much, but at this point, I don't think very many people are making excuses for him anymore. But essentially, there'd be a lot of people who would be happy to know that, yeah, he kind of what's going on. Similarly, I saw something that happened to him here on Earth, and it reminded me, it was 2 days ago, it happened here on Earth, and it kind of reminded me, it was in their Israeli courts, and it reminded me of what happened to him, except those aliens saying it, not somebody from his country. It was, and it was just basically, you can't just hide behind your beliefs and your religion and your people. Like, that's a cowardly thing to do when you're being a genocidal monster. That's basically like the message of like, he tried to speak, and 2/3 of the people present in the court, they turned, and there were aliens there too, they turned their backs on them. They just wouldn't even listen to him. And then because I had been turned into a cyborg by Israel before, and I've done stuff for him, worked as a super soldier for him, I was able to testify how I worked for Israel, and then also have seen the other side, because I also worked for the people of Angua, basically, like trying to help them. Like I talked about my altar and stuff like that live there. And so he saw it from the other side, like trying to help the people. So he saw both sides. And so I was able to give this like testimony, basically, look, you can't give excuses for what you're doing. Like, this planet, like, you just showed up out of nowhere. You have no stake in this place. Like, you have no history here. Like, you can't talk about your people and your identity and stuff like that at a place that you don't belong to. You know what I mean? Like, you're not from there. So really hard to use that argument. But anyway, I just was able to kind of say my piece in the court. And they basically just said, you can't go to this part of space anymore. You'll get in a lot of trouble. And they're like, you got to stay on Earth for like a certain amount of time or something like that, which came out in your data. Basically, they said that they don't want them to leave a certain part of space, and if they do, there will be repercussions. And intergalactic courts are kind of weird because they believe in like letting people's karma play out. Because a lot of people will be like, well, why didn't they arrest him? Netanyahu or whatever. They didn't arrest him. They let him go. They believe in letting people learn their own lesson, because if they don't learn their own lesson, if you try to force the lesson on them, it's less likely to be received. Than the universe is actually pretty good at teaching people their lessons through their karma. So they're more evolved than us. So that's why they didn't just be like, all right, prison, slave camp or something for you. They believe in him learning and growing, and that he can be a good person. Still there's still the potential for him to be a good person and learn from making mistakes, from fucking up. That's what humans are supposed to do. So anyway,
that's a humane way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Even though what happened, I mean, it was lots of people could have died and stuff, but they didn't. Okay. And they don't look at things like E.T. We look at things like good, evil. That's very black and white, one or the other. And they don't really look at things that way. And like, yeah, it's bad karma to like punish someone. It's better to just let them have their own karma work itself out.
Wow, that's so interesting.
So that's the route that the ET chose, and that's why they didn't like make him sit in prison or something like that.
Intergalactic courts in session. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. Well, why don't we do this tonight? Let's break it down into two different sections. So we're going to do the first target first tonight, and I want to get some input from Bill too.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill. Yes.
Hi.
Bill, how did you get involved with all of this? Okay, I know you're friends with Arkheim. You're an electrical engineer. I want to hear a little bit about your backstory a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been an electrical engineer for 25 years. Graduated from college in 2001, and essentially was just not really interested in any of this stuff, SSP, crystals, any of this, until like I had an aha moment in 2016. Something happened to me. It kind of put me on this path of just opening up my eyes, I guess waking up, if you call it. I invented that thing called the bubble, and that really opened my eyes to, what's going on here. They're not really telling us a lot of information. And so just on my own, I really worked on the bubble and developing it and seeing what it can do, kind of just in my own little space, not really interacting with people. I mean, we had a bubble tech group, but it wasn't until I went on Aubrey's show. She has Starseed Netlink show talking about the bubble. Then I had a chance to meet Arkheim. And so, and prior to, and actually how I had found Arkheim was, there was.
Can you rewind just real quick and just explain what the bubble is?
Yeah, I'm
probably
dying
like, what the
to
hell
know.
Is this guy talk about?
What is the bubble? I am dying to know what the bubble is.
It's essentially what I did was, there are devices out there that they're called like organite. You've heard of like organite.
Yes.
And and I probably shouldn't even said that word, but whatever. Yeah. So I saw a video of a guy doing a cloud buster once on YouTube, and as an electrical engineer, I was like, man, that just looks like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. However, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to make one, just because for some reason, intuitively, I wanted to try it. And that was the first time I had made an O piece. Let's call it O piece, okay, for that word, because I'm not going to use that word a lot. And so I made this O piece, these pyramids, and I was not impressed. And the ingredients in the O piece, there are videos on Arkheim's channel that talk about the different ingredients, and maybe we can do a show too, Jessica, at some point if you're interested. But
of course.
Yeah, I mean, ingredients are very benign, like crystals, copper, aluminum, things that as an electrical engineer shouldn't do anything. And so what I was not initially impressed. Well, I shouldn't say that because it upsets some people. I guess I was expecting something else. And so like the way I invent things typically is like just images come to my head. I don't really have control over it. Just images start popping in. I don't hear anything. I just see pictures. And I was shown pictures of like putting heat under the pyramid. So I was like, okay, I'll put some heat on it. So I used like these, these heat lamps, like a chicken brooder lamp, started warming up these pyramids. And I noticed, wow, it was, the field was becoming stronger. And the way that I determined what this field strength was literally was just by looking up in the sky and seeing what was happening above me. And then I had another one of these, information drops on me where they're like, hey, you need to take this violet ray, which is a device actually invented by Nikola Tesla, and you need to start, zapping the pyramid while it's being warmed up with the violet ray. And I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And when I did that, like, it really changed. I saw this grid around me. It looked like, like a wedding veil kind of, but it's very thin, and it wasn't like perfect lines. It was almost like a grid on like a curved piece of paper all around me. So that really tripped me out. And so that's how I invented the bubble. It was like taking something that existed and then adding heat in the violet ray. Now, what is the bubble? I think that there's a broad definition of that. I can tell you what it is for me. It's like a manifestation tool. It's like a hobby, and it also does certain things that, as part of my hobby, I'm interested in, that, if we talked about it on this show, would be even more unbelievable than what Arkheim is talking about. So, and like Susan right there, I hooked her up with a bubble, and she's had some amazing results with it. And I got Arkheim a bubble. I sent him a bubble as well. So it's like a manifestation tool. It helps me invent new things, and it also helps me do things that, most people would not believe, and that's fine. I mean, because I know it works.
Bill and I are also working on like reverse engineering some of the Montauk, basically like mind control technology that Preston Nichols used and stuff like that. But obviously to use it for positive purposes. I've been talking about wanting to do that ever since I went public, and Bill has the actual like creative know-how, because it does take being creative, some of the stuff, because it's a field where there isn't that much there to draw off of. For instance, there's this thing where we have to make an electron spin and stuff like that, and he figured out how to do it with magnets, even though he didn't know how. He just figured, so wow. you gotta adapt with just by being intuitive and being an engineer like Bill, being able to figure it out as you go along. So that's been kind of a fun journey that we're going on, is figuring out like sound healing technology. He's got a website he's building right now and stuff like that, some devices.
Sorry, Arkheim.
Oh, you're all good. No, you can elaborate.
Yeah, so also wanted to say, like, so back to how I met Arkheim, it was essentially through Aubrey, doing a show with him, and I had seen some of his content, and it resonated with me as, like, because I use my stomach to try to, is this person being honest, or do they believe what they're talking about, kind of thing. And I mean, very compelling watching Arkheim's testimony. And so like, the way I look at it is, I'm Arkheim's friend, but I've got his back, and like, the stuff that he needs help with technologically, like, I'm there to support him. And since he and I have been getting closer and interacting more, like, just more things have been coming in. And Arkheim, some stuff happened last night. Like, I'm getting memories of this planet thing that we did. They're coming back, like, especially as I go to sleep. And I'll also mention, like, what happened to me that night, what happened, Arkheim, apparently this was 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night. And like, I woke up Sunday, and I was experiencing physical sensations that I had not experienced before. I essentially had felt like I was ripped out of my body from my neck, back of my neck, because I was just in a lot of pain. Wow. I knew something had happened. And the only the only memory I had was I was wearing my sunglasses and showing someone my sunglasses. And I was like, what the hell, where am I? What's going on here? But Arkheim and I talked on Sunday, and was trying to help him, like, just speak his power, if you will, as Arkheim Ra, and pull these memories back in, and it worked. And then because I knew something had happened, like, I felt like something important had happened. At least he did something. Then he started telling me about, you know, that I went on the trip and all this. And I was like, wow, you know, mind blown. And then I started looking at like the Moses West stuff, and, you know, it just all was it just all came rushing in. Like I saw a video of him and I was like, okay, yeah, it looks familiar. And even his mannerisms. Yeah, I can tell like he's probably SSP guy. He's a Ranger. And, you know, looking at his designs, like it all made sense to me. You know, there was like a moment I had 2 days ago. I was like, okay, I get it. I see what he's doing.
This Moses West guy does stuff that like the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, definitely don't like. Like, for instance, like when Haiti had a really bad hurricane one time and all these people would have died because they didn't have drinking water, he showed up with one of his machines and, you know, saved lives. This guy saves lives, Moses West, with his water machines. And,
you know,
most people don't even know that this technology exists. Like, you know, he went to just pull water out of the air. Sorry,
Arkheim. He went to Detroit, like Flint, and was giving out water 6 years ago. Had his whole setup, you know, and they came and vandalized his equipment.
And he said the people that did it had to know. They would have to know. It had to be smart people, because in order to vandalize, to mess up the machine, you had to know how to operate it.
Right, and they poured like metal in the gas tank. They poured metal in the gas tank. They destroyed his control panels. Like it was, you know, it wasn't just some random dude doing vandalism. Like they knew what they were doing. They knew how to disable the generator. They knew how to disable his control box. So, you know, I could see how that guy could be a target, because, you know, he's taking money out of someone's pocket who's trying to sell water. But anyway, so yeah, like things are coming back in, and just as far as like my involvement, like I have a 9-to-5 job or whatever, do electrical engineering. But like really most of the time I'm just like thinking about stuff I'm inventing, or, you know, wanting to hang out with Arkheim and talk about stuff like this, because it really interests me, and I believe there's a lot of truth there. Not just because like Arkheim says it, but because, like, you know, I look at like other presenters like David Adair. Do you know who David Adair is?
I've heard his name. I don't think we've met.
He did a lot of work at Area 51, and he was like a rocket scientist, like he is a brilliant rocket scientist. But he talks about his experiences at Area 51 when he was designing his rocket, and like mentions things like how the Air Force generals were not in charge of anything. It was this German guy, you know, who was part of the Nazi space program. I forget his name, and he's calling all the shots. And I'm like, why would a German guy be calling the shots at Area 51? You know, so there's things that other people say, maybe in passing in their presentations or YouTube videos, that align with what Arkheim says or has said or is trying to tell us. So, you know, that's why I support him. I feel like what he's doing is very important. And, you know, he's got a lot of knowledge there from a technical aspect. You know, for instance, like when I have technical questions on things that I do that are very difficult, and I don't know what I'm doing, I'll ask Arkheim, hey, like tap in, see if you can get me an answer on this. And he'll just start saying things. He doesn't know what he's saying, but I know what he's saying. Like he'll tell me these technical things. He's like, Bill, I don't know, this stuff's coming in. Like, you know, methyl cellulose. Like I was working on something and I needed an ingredient, you know, so it's really cool working with him. And also I want to say, like, this person, Jacob, and Arkheim, maybe you can tell who Jacob is. But like
my alter, more or less the original version of me.
Like I have some connection to Jacob. Like I can, in my mind, ask Jacob a question and, like, you know, I'll start seeing pictures. So I don't know what's up with that, but it's pretty neat, you know, because it's just like instant. So
no, that's really. No, that's actually it's wonderful, because it's very similar to the way, I mean, I have mad respect for Arkheim as well, Bill. Okay. And I do a lot of work with Arkheim as far as these remote viewing targets go. And there are words that come up in the data, which these are blind targets. So I don't know what I'm looking at. And they connect with these targets. And I have been able to I'm just about every target that Arkheim has given me, we have been able to verify through these are blind targets that a lot of his memories, I believe, did happen. Okay. And we've got some, and it backs it up. So I think, like Arkheim told me earlier today, he's like, you know, between your electrical engineering and what you're doing, and then my remote viewing, and then his experiences and whatever, and your experiences. This is going to be a good trifecta to get some good disclosure tonight.
Absolutely. And I will also, I've seen some questions pop up on the screen here. Do you want to just table those for later, or do you want to?
Yes, I'm putting stars on them. We'll come back to them in a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, I mean, I'm kind of new to all of this, but, and I really like helping people. That's what motivates me. And so when Arkheim told me about this mission that we did, I mean, it was very emotional for me. And
it was kind of funny because Bill was like, why did we do this? What was the motivation behind it? Which he's just curious. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a stupid question, because I was like, no offense, Bill. I was like, to save millions of lives, Bill. Like, millions of people were gonna die. That's why.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what did we tell the king guy? Did he believe us? Did he think we probably had ulterior motivations or something? And I was like, he did kind of wonder, but we just told him we don't like bullies. Millions of people are going to die. It's not right. It's your planet. You got, the people your people have lived there for a really long time. The colony that they have, they're not bullies. They're living there peacefully along everybody else. Why can't they do that? We don't agree with it. And he knew about my altar too, which was basically I had a connection. I lived on that planet. So I told him about that too, and so he and all we needed. He's like, it's just we're just literally we have this miracle thing, water from thin air. We just don't have factories, the material resources and all that stuff. That's where you come in, and then we're and then these bullies that are trying to kick your whole colony's gonna have to evacuate if they don't have drinking water. All your people are gonna have to go somewhere else. They've been there. They were there for hundreds of years already. I was like, you don't want that. That's stupid. And they have a culture there, a history, and it's a trading post. It was important to them. People liked visiting there. Everybody from this guy's people, they had multiple places they lived, more than one planet and moon and stuff. You know what I mean? But they all liked this place. They knew about it. People would visit there. A lot of them would probably have family there and stuff. So we're just we have a mutual interest. That's all. I mean, personally, I didn't actually like the guy that much. He's a king, so kings are usually kind of kings, but did he care enough about his people to not want them all to die? Yeah, of course. And he helped us, and he did the right thing.
And I will say, just to build on what Arkheim said, I guess my style, or the way I like to roll, is coming in under the radar, and doing things that, shaking things up, things that people don't expect. Because what motivates me is different than, money and greed and all that. So what Arkheim described is the way that I would do something like that. Come in and just get it done and leave without any, recognition.
Yeah, we didn't need anything from him. The cool part, though, what I think really, Bill, because it's the little bit of selfishness there was, I mean, we were there when we turned on the water machines. It was awesome. Everyone was so happy to be there. It was like a party, but everybody was drinking water instead of beer.
Beer's good too, though. Sometimes.
I wanted to make beer with the water.
You're in such dire straits because the poisoning and the war. There's already been bombing and war. It was already really bad, and when you're in such dire straits, that material comfort of just, hey, that machine's in the middle of the town. Anytime I need water, I can just go and fill up and bring it back to my house.
Gosh.
That, having that material resource met, that's such a huge relief that it makes you feel okay with bringing out the beer, because you don't feel like you're fucking struggling to survive as much. You know what I mean? So it's these people,
we take these things for granted, though, don't
and
we?
The rain
just
too.
having
I
water.
remember how cool that was, because it's like I said, it's a desert planet, so they needed geoengineering sometimes to help along for them to get their crops in order and stuff like that. And so we help with some geoengineering stuff, Bill.
Nice.
And we made sure that they could make clouds too, because these atmospheric water, there's something you can do with them where you just modify them and have a pipe coming out of them or something like that. I forget how it works, but you can make cloud generators really easily as well. And we made them, and then we made it rain, and that the people love that too. That was like a big party for them too, because it was raining and it hadn't rained so long. So that was really cool to everyone. So it's just the celebration of life was worth it. Being there to feel all of that joy energy and that relief energy. Because I mean, there was more than just like happiness, it was relief. I was like, oh, like we can survive here. We don't have to leave. We can stay at our home. Like there's a lot of that energy. And we didn't just, one of the things we want to make clear with them too is like, yeah, we know you only have one area that you live on, but we're like, we want to do this for the whole planet. It's very important. And we talked him into the king guy, because even though, you know, he doesn't have a stake on the whole planet, we're like, you look really good. Think how good you look. And it's a diplomatic what do you call it? Diplomatic currency. We're like, yeah, just help everybody with these water generators. Like, and you can't have everybody on the planet die and then you're the only colony and then you're just, you know, you're so vulnerable then. Meanwhile, if you give these water generators out, help other people out, you look awesome and everybody's gonna think you're great and want to work with you and stuff. It'll be good for trade. People feel safe visiting your colony and wanting to interact with your people because of the good story. Like it'll just basically bolster your reputation overnight. And so yeah, it was a win-win for everybody involved. And yeah, it's one of those rare times where you go into a situation and you actually change it, and more or less it just comes out better. I mean, I have a lot of trauma and bad stuff happens to me in these programs and stuff, but it's kind of cool that, you know, occasionally it's just a cool adventure. It's like an adventure we went on.
Yeah, sounds like a nice change.
Yeah, we were just like help these people.
Polar opposite of like some of the other things we've looked into, Arkheim, with the assassin data and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, and that's been happening a lot with me lately, where I'm starting to have this theory where I am serving as because you know the alters, to explain it so the people might understand it, basically the MK Ultra programs split my personality into all these different personalities, and they put them into different clone bodies that do different things. And I think I'm sort of serving as an anchor where bleed through is happening through me somehow or something. Like they're remembering, like they all are connected to me and find out about each other stuff through me. And basically, I'm realizing that some of these things that happen where I feel powerless and like some awful things happen. It's been a few times recently where like I'll get this awful memory, like something messed up. Like I did a show with Aquarius Rising Africa actually about like this basically like a trafficking ring. Try to dance around the censorship algorithms here, but like a trafficking ring that they actually had physical evidence in the here and now, stuff like that we and I got memories of going in there and actually like messing these people up that were doing this stuff, like and rescuing kids and stuff like that. So the initial memories were really bad because it was like of the operation and all this nasty stuff they were doing. But then this version of me found out about it, and they're from a Japanese breakaway colony. I don't want to get too off the subject, but they're all about honor. They follow the samurai code, and the people that were doing this were Japanese and were violating the Bushido code. So under that code, like it meant legally we could go in there and fuck them up, basically. So we did. So that, and yeah, people can check that out. That's a whole show on Aquarius Rising Africa that we did. It was really hard.
Wow.
It was really, that's a dark one. Because even though it has a good ending, it's real. That one's real dark. But yeah, it's not always like I'm like realizing like I'm not just like defenseless. Like I'm realizing like these people can't just take me and do whatever they want to me. Like there's repercussions for taking me. Like I'll come in and fuck your shit up. I'll mess up your whole operation. That's what I did with Angua. I was working for them. I was working for IDF. Well, they learned their lesson. Like I just am proud of myself. I'll be honest with you. I'm really proud of myself. Like you can't just fucking take me and my consciousness and do whatever you want with it. You can't. I will stand up for myself, and if you're doing something wrong, I'm finding out that I will do everything within my power to stop you. I think that's like what I'm doing, and like that's another thing. Just not to bring up Aquarius Rising Africa again, but I mean we love her, right? She's a nice lady, Chantal. She told me about how like this is part of your journey. Is like you had to go through these dark places in order to be able to like fix them, basically, in order to be able to bring the darkness to the light. And I'm like, I hate hearing that, because I hate hearing like, oh, you had to experience this darkness. But I hate it because you're right. That's why she's right. Like, it's true. So it's like, yeah, you sometimes in order to infiltrate these groups, you have to literally like join them. And I'm kind of starting to realize like that's sort of what I did, I think. And the pendulum is swinging the other way. I think you can't just take me. Like, you know, like another thing that happened recently too was a group that takes me. Unfortunately, they made me have a child with Cat, actually, and then they took him to do my work because I go on here and I talk on the internet. They consider me compromised. So I know that part really sucks, but that's proof that they don't want to just like take me. Like groups are realizing like they just can't take me and just use me. Like they're realizing there's repercussions for it. Like I'm too compromised, and for me that's kind of like a relief.
Well, Arkheim, you got it right. Everything that you just said, I agree, and we are here to obviously be disruptors in some kind of matrix system that we've all been enslaved by for a long time. And so I do appreciate you guys sharing all of that. And we do have a lot of questions in the chat right now. We do. I put stars beside them. We're gonna come back to those in just a little bit because we need
let's go to the data.
Let's do the targets first. I'm excited about this now. And also, Bill, you actually have a blueprint down there on the. Is that on the screen? Is that for one of the aquifers? One of the systems that you built?
Oh, I think your microphone's muted. Off, buddy.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, the battery on this wireless mic went out. Okay, yeah. So what you see on the screen is a picture I put together of what the atmospheric water generator looks like. But I did want to just mention something based on what Arkheim just said. You know, like in Arkheim, I tell you this frequently, like I believe, you know, the stronger that you are, the harder you're going to be tested. And, you know, that's just seems like a reality down here. So one thing that I try to help Arkheim with is like when he's being tested and when they're dragging him down, trying to pull him up out of, you know, this, you know, those negative thoughts and just remind him who he is. So I'm going to continue to do that. But anyway, yeah. So what you see on the screen, so I put together a schematic of what it looks like. I mean, and essentially what we did was create like large dehumidifiers. You know, but what they do is we pull the air into this machine and you blow it over like a coil, the evaporator coil that's cold, and it starts, you know, collecting water. Kind of like if you have a glass of ice water on the table, you'll notice condensation starts building up on the outside of the glass, right? And that's normal. Like I was at dinner with my son tonight and I pointed that out to him. And then I get this memory of this water generator thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So in its simplest form, you know, that's what we're doing. We're essentially blowing air over a cold surface and letting that water collect and then filtering it not only with filters, but like UV light, also killing bacteria and stuff, and then recirculating it through the filter. So it's essentially like a really high powered dehumidifier without the hot gas reheat or without the hot air reheat. And it works very well, you know, especially in humid environments, Texas, that kind of thing. So yeah, I put together that image based on one of the Moses West design patents that I looked up just to try to and once I saw the patent, I was like, oh, okay, you know, this makes sense. And then more memories started coming in. You know, specifically this memory that I've been seeing recently of like, it looks like someone is holding a card up to my face, but on this card, there's like this, it looks like this vortex in the middle of spinning. And that usually like it happens at the beginning of these experiences. And I don't know what that means, but it's like, it looks like a vortex hole and it's being held up to my face.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A vortex hole.
Yeah, but it's like someone is holding this card up to my face, and then I can see it. And then that's what starts, and then it's like I'm out. So,
Wow.
yeah, there's a schematic of the water generator there that I put together. And obviously, like, the red line represents dirty water, but at least, we've collected the water, you got to filter it. I've simplified the filtration process, and then it's recirculated. So it's pretty straightforward, but it works really well.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill. Hey, you got a little echo every time we talk, so I'm going to mute you every time me or Arkheim talks. Okay. That's okay. Okay.
I'm just going to grab battery. Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Well, why don't we do this? Let me think. Hey, Joby, what's up? Thank you for being here tonight. I want to thank
Joby. I serve with Joby in the programs.
Joby's awesome. I got to meet Joby. He was at the Journey to Truth conference that you and I were at, where I met you. Yeah.
I trust that man with my children.
And he's a good tattoo artist too, right?
Amazing tattoo artist.
He's a great artist. Thank you for being here, Joby. Nathan Davis, I want to thank you so much for this super sticker. That really means the world to me. It says great show. Thank you, Nathan. You have wonderful comments. You always add a lot to the shows. Thank you for being here. Okay. All right. Well, how about this? Do you guys want to, Arkheim, should we just go straight into the data? I guess for this target. Yeah. Okay, let's go into the data tonight. And we have a lot of interesting data. Now that you guys have heard what the target is, okay? It is this. Well, first of all, let me double check. This is the mission, right, Arkheim? It's the mission that you went on. Like, explain exactly what the target is one more time.
Okay, so the first target was the mission with an emphasis on I was like, kind of like imagining sort of the scene when we first turned on the water generators and everyone was like so happy.
Okay.
That was more or less what I was trying to like imagine, but I sort of visualized like kind of all of it. And then the second one is more, like I said, direct, where it's just like that court trial, which happened somewhere near Angua.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that one next. Let's go. We're gonna go through the first target now for my Patreon members. You guys, the data is in my Patreon. This is target 34526371. So target number 1. Okay, all I was given were a set of 8 numbers. Okay, that's all I got. And let's go through all the data. We're gonna go down I have 3 pages of data, and let's start off with the sensory data. Okay, that's what I'm gonna go over first. Okay, the first things that I wrote were crowded. Well, let's just go over the sensory data and then we'll go over to the analytic overlay. All right. Crowded, space, spacious, limited, over, below, maintained, creeper, creeping, superfluous, lacking, and popped. Popped. Now, I got to tell you, Bill, I was seeing bubble wrap during this. That was the main thing. I actually even drew, like, for my stage 3, I thought I was looking at bubble wrap. So it was I had a lot of like bubble data, which is weird that you were just talking about bubbles. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny how you reacted when I told you about the bubble invention. And I put that together. Yeah.
That was wild. Okay. Well, let's get into the, okay. So from that sensory data, my mind is kind of like making sense of like what that sensory data is. So I'm seeing things. This is my analytic overlay is what we call this. And this is what I wrote down from that sensory data: space and time, space-time continuum, limited time. So a lot of time data, Arkheim, being a time cop and all, but limited time. I wrote financed, kept going. Like kept going, not keep going, but kept going. Like this happened in the past, it kept going, continuous. And I heard a voice say for a long time, continuous for a long time, slow speed, slow rate, bubble wrap. Okay. I wrote bubble wrap, blow up, popping, high pressure, pressurized, prepackaged, and pre-planned. Okay. That was like my first page of data. And so I don't know. What do you think about that so far, Arkheim? Does any of it make sense?
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it's talking about, the water machine, pressurizing. I think the time the thing that it's talking about where it's gonna take time, a long time. I said how it's gonna take like 800 years for those aquifers to have clean water again. But you don't just, it's gonna take too long. You don't just not do it, right? You're still gonna clean up that water, even if it's gonna take a really long time. And I think that might be what a lot of that is referencing. I don't know what you think, Bill.
Yeah, I agree. You know, pressure also, to me, I feel like, you know, maybe there was pressure to save lives. You know, maybe there was a situation where the water situation was getting dire and we needed to act. The bubble wrap thing is I need to think about that some more, because, you know, I think the bubble aspect of bubble wrap is important, and it probably relates to the bubble invention. I'm not really sure how, but
yeah. It may not connect to anything here. Okay. It's just the way I was because I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm remote viewing stuff. I have no idea what it is. So I can only interpret what I know. Okay. And so like what I was seeing looked like bubble wrap or something. It was like bubbles. It was I don't know, just like bubbles. And so I just wrote in bubble wrap. So I don't know. Let's go to stage 4, y'all. Let's go to the next page because there's a lot more. There's some interesting data because on stage 4 in my remote viewing, I was seeing what looked like what I think they called a psychomantium. That's what I wrote down. Psychomantium. It's like a room full of mirrors. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of different, it's almost like different dimensions or something is what I was seeing. You know, and you sit down, there's a movie, I think Heath Ledger's in it. It might be called the Psychomantium or something. I don't know. But it's almost like being in a fun house. And so that's what I was seeing during my stage 4 data. I actually wrote down something that was uniform, same and repetitive. I was getting a lot of repetition data for this. I wrote same and repetitive, repeating and repeater. Now I got a ham radio. Okay. And I know about repeaters. Okay. So I don't know how anything to do with repeaters. Okay. And that kind of a frequency, like bouncing off of stuff. I mean, I don't know, but I wrote down repeating and repeaters, a lot of repetitive data. I actually drew a box and I wrote mirrored rooms. I wrote cymantium because I couldn't remember the name of that I think it's called a psychomantium if I'm not mistaken. And I wrote endless and never ending multiverse. Okay. So I was seeing a multiverse, and I wrote mirrored room, funhouse style experiments, and DMT. Okay. And I think it's interesting that I wrote DMT and I'm seeing all this like multiverse because about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had my buddy, Dr. Ram on the show. Now, Dr. Ram is Dr. Richard Allen Miller. And I met him at James Rink's conference and down in Florida. And he was, he's based out of Oregon, actually. And he's based out of Oregon. And he worked with Navy SEAL team. I don't know if it's SEAL Team 6 or what, but doing, making them into superhumans. Okay. We're talking about mind control. Okay. I'm a remote viewer. He was talking about astral travel. He's really big into the DMT stuff. And I mean, he's an interesting fellow, y'all, but he's talking about going into outer space, being inner space. Okay. Being inner space and taking things like that DMT. So we have DMT naturally in our bodies, right? But using that to like travel and stuff. And I don't know, maybe there's a connection though. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like you used a different body, Bill. Sounds like you didn't use your body. You got sucked up. But how would you have those sunglasses with you then? Is my question.
I don't know, man. That's it's like, and I have very like specific sunglasses, like these Maui Jims. So, and I remember because they have these red lenses, and that was something that came out. But
maybe we had to like go to your house to get stuff. And you grab your. In fact, I'm almost certain that's what it was. It's like, all right, yeah, you're in there like sleeping, like.
Come rip me out. Let's go save the water. Yeah, I mean, but like I said, I felt so different on Sunday different, more, you know, than I have felt in the past, that I knew something had happened. I just didn't really know why. I mean, other than like feeling like someone hit me on the back of the head really hard. But you know, the repetitive thing with the mirrors, I mean, I don't know. When Arkheim showed me your notes, Jessica, yesterday, you know, that repetitive thing really resonated for some reason, because like when I do remember my dreams, or call it a dream or whatever is happening, you know, I feel like it's like something happens, like a series of events happens, and then I do it all over again. And then I do it all over again, do it over again, like that movie with Tom Cruise.
Groundhog Day.
Well, yeah, it's Groundhog Day, you know. But it's like every time I redo it, it's like I'm surprised, you know. But it's so that to me is what I felt like repetitive. Like maybe I had tried to do this before unsuccessfully, and we got it right this time. But I resonated with the repetition thing.
It also could be like lifetime after lifetime. I mean, I know this is I used to think that I had all this life figured out, y'all. Now, the more that I'm learning and the more that I live and obtain wisdom, I know nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
I know nothing now. And, but it could be like, I used to think that like, well, maybe we're just having like past lives, and every life, like we try something over and we get a little bit further every lifetime. But I mean, maybe we're living all these past lives now, you know, like it's like past lives and future lives. It's like, oh, it's all happening right now. I know that sounds weird, but.
Well, I agree with you, Jessica, on the, you know, what do I know? Like the bubble thing blew my mind, where my attitude is the only thing I know is I know nothing. And then when you do that, you open yourself up to everything. You know, you let go of the biases you have, prejudices, whatever, it just all comes in. So I'm with you there on that.
Oh yeah, I know. It's just it's almost like, it's not like I feel defeated. Like I just, it's overwhelming. No, it's like I literally don't know anything. And and that's why I love doing this kind of stuff and thinking outside the box, and even throwing stuff like this out. I mean, what we're talking about tonight, a lot of people may not understand at all. Okay. And it may not understand it, but see, we're here to plant the seeds no matter what. Okay. This is the real deal. Okay, this is a real deal. Okay, well, let's move on to the third page here of some of the extra stage 4 data that I have. And okay, so we just went from the multiverse DMT. I was actually seeing like a psychomantium, as I think is what I wrote down. It's like a room with all those mirrors. The multiverse, just a whole lot of different realities, like parallel realities, all right here. Okay, and that's what I wrote down. And something else I thought of, Bill, was like when you were saying that like you feel like you've done this before or whatever, I'm thinking of like Project Pegasus. Are you guys familiar? I know that Arkheim, you're familiar with Pegasus. That's where they were sending it's like a secret government program, allegedly, that Andrew Basiago came out and was talking about. He said that him and Obama actually did this program together, but they were sending children back in time to go, you know, James Rink was a part of it. I know, to go back in time to give messages to our president and to observe when Lincoln got shot, and, you know, all sorts of interesting stuff. So I'm wondering, it made me think of that when you said that.
So. Well, I will say that, you know, recently I've been reading that book, The Music of Time, for a project that Arkheim and I are working on. And I mean, reading this book has been tripping me out, because I feel like I've read this book multiple times before. I know what Preston is talking about, what he's going to say. And, you know, it's been eye-opening for me. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, I was involved in one of these programs, especially based on where I grew up. I grew up in Lake Forest, Illinois, which is the north suburb of Chicago. And it's really weird. Like Preston did several presentations in Lake Forest on this on his psionic stuff. And I was like, wow, you know, like Lake Forest is this tiny town. So I don't know. Wow. But reading his book has been a trip. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Okay. Well, okay. Let's go to the last page of my data. Okay. And then we'll go to the next target, y'all. And so for the last bit of my data, I was actually, so I wrote down happy. That was part of my sensory data. And then I wrote uplift or uplifted. So somebody was happy and there was something that was uplifted. People were uplifted. Okay. And it kind of goes with like what y'all were saying, that like people were very happy that they got their water. Okay.
Mhm.
But I wrote happy, take it up. I wrote take it up, and I wrote an arrow pointing up. I said I wrote down something inside from within. It's inside
Some
you.
of the soil we were lifting, airlifting,
Mm-hmm.
and like just
Oh,
like
yeah.
bringing into space or whatever, because it was just like poison soil. Like there was no, so there was literally, we were literally pulling the soil up and just like bringing it,
Yeah.
just leaving, like dropping it. Can't remember exactly what we did with it, but a lot of the really poisoned soil was so poisoned it was like no bueno. There was no real, like, the soil we could kind of fix. You know, we had these machines that would like sift it, and some of the soil we were able to repair, but some of the soil we had to like bring in soil from other regions of the planet or stuff like that. I'm pretty sure we've used some highly advanced technology to like just like do some crazy stuff, but basically like terraforming of a planet that doesn't need terraforming, just fixing damage done to it. That kind of terraforming to fix stuff instead of to make a planet habitable. It's already habitable. It's just making it rehabitable again. Is a lot of the stuff we were doing. So yeah, literally required, like I said, hauling off. Kind of sounds like you're describing it.
Yeah. Something that was biological. I said something biological. Take it up.
Yeah.
And something that made people happy. There's some kind of trip. I don't know if you guys were on a trip or what, but anyways,
We were, yeah. We were on this whole thing was like work, but it was almost like we enjoyed ourselves while we did it, I guess, you know.
oh my God.
Mhm.
I mean,
Trip.
basically the rest of my data was like, well, I was seeing something with like a third eye. I was getting a lot of like stuff that was in your consciousness and like your subconscious. But I was also picking up on like selling away or like getting out of there and like taking the I wrote bottom wind and downwind. I don't know what bottom wind means. That sounds weird, but like downwind. I don't know. I was seeing like something that was some kind of vessel, whether that be in the air or on the water or whatever. But I mean, I was seeing like a vessel that was like taking some, like getting like maybe an airplane or some kind of craft or something that was kind of flowing in the what do you call that? I don't know. I just said downwind, but anyways, but it's selling away, just getting out of there. And that was pretty much the data for that target. Okay, I ended the target right there. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Okay, I didn't get any deeper into the target than that, and I shut it down. But when did y'all say this happened? You think it was like a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wow.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah.
So tomorrow's Friday, so it would have been almost 2 weeks. You know, almost 2 weeks ago. Like this upcoming Saturday, that would have been 2 weeks ago, and then Sunday, Arkheim and I talked. Well, essentially, I was trying to get a hold of him, and he didn't have his phone or whatever. And then Sunday, he texts me and says something weird happened last night. So I was like, yo, figure it out. And then like we started, all the information started.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what happened. Something weird happened. I don't know what happened. He's like, dude, just remember it. It's like, what do you mean? He's like, just look into your memories, man. You're you.
Yeah.
So it
did. Yeah. And then we called me back. I mean, even just talking about it right now gives me goosebumps. But Jessica, like you talk about like the celebration or like the one from your page 4, and like tonight I was at dinner with my son, and Arkheim, I don't know if that was like your Patreon email that came out that talked about like this mission. And like you got to the point in the email where you're talking about like people celebrating. And I read that. I just started crying at dinner. I was like, holy shit, pardon my language, but like, whoa, what's going on here? Like extremely emotional. My son is like, what is wrong? So yeah, like something is there. I feel as we talk about it more, like, like this feels more real to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm connecting with these memories, on an emotional level. So,
well, what do you guys both think about the data? I mean, to me, a lot of it does line up, but I mean, my data is very general in my opinion. Okay, that's my opinion on it. But I think it does back up some of what you guys were talking about with this target. And that it's just, I was just giving some numbers, you know what I mean? And so it just, I don't know, maybe it would have been nice to like go back and do that target one more time and kind of focus a little more if I'd had like another, like, you know, tasker to kind of walk me through it, I guess. But, you know, send it to my team. That would be a good target for my team to look into, actually. Yeah. I have a whole team of
I have a
reviewers.
feeling there'll be more of these, you know, coming out. Maybe get more specific. But yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't really new to remote viewing and all this. So, but I would say, yeah, the details aren't too specific.
They're general in my opinion, but it's still good though, because, you know, you can make sense of it. And sometimes that's what remote viewing is. It's like, you know, you're just getting a little more information out of it, you know, than you normally would have. And if we can even just back up some of what you guys are saying, you know, that's a win for me. Okay. That's a win. So, okay. Well, let's talk about the other target. Okay. This other target is a court trial or something, right? It's a court trial. You had mentioned Netanyahu and that. And before we go there, okay, I remember there were some questions in the chat, and somebody, I think it was Dawn, maybe was asking. Let me see if I got the question right here. Was it him?
A portal question. And
there was a portal question. That's what it was. You know, how did you read my mind, Bill? Okay, you're reading my mind there. It was like, how do y'all get to these places? Do you think that you portal through somewhere or what? Because Arkheim, you and I have talked about you waking up and like people coming through the mirrors and the walls and stuff. How does this process work, Arkheim or Bill? Either probably. I'm kind of asking Arkheim.
I don't know.
How does it work?
That part's all kind of blurry. I think that a different version of me showed up and took my phone. And then went and got Bill, because I kind of remember it a little bit. Like I remember like seeing my own body, my own self sleeping, and like snatching the phone, and then putting it back too. I feel like I remember it. So this body didn't go anywhere. It was just a different version of me, and the different version of me is Jacob, but Jacob has it's called a polyfragment named Jakob. And I think he was created by a Russian program or something like that. But I'm fairly certain he was the one who lived the life on Angua, was Jakob. I kind of want to look back on the show, the first one, and see, because I feel like I might have said that already, or maybe I didn't say the same name. I can't remember. But yeah, basically I think it was just like a different version of me that's doing stuff in the secret space programs. Like took my phone and did all this stuff. And since they're all me, every version of me is me. Like I did that, even though I didn't do that.
You know what they're showing? You know what they showed our children? And you know, Bill, I know you got a kid. You said you were having dinner with your son. I've got a son. My kid's 11. Okay, and my son, when he was really little, he used to love Ninja Turtles, the TMNT. And also, of course, he's still into Spider-Man. He loves Spider-Man.
But now he's moved on to Sassy the Sasquatch.
He loves Sassy. He likes that too. Yes. Well, his mom's the Cryptid Huntress, and I take him Bigfooting, so he likes Bigfoot. Okay. But okay, so they show our children these multiverses. Okay, and I don't really remember multiverses in cartoons when we were kids. Okay. And Bill, I think you and I are about the same age, by the way.
Oh, is it Phineas and Ferb you're talking about?
Well, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different cartoons, even like Rick and Morty and all that. I mean, that's kind of for adults, really. But they show these multiverses and stuff where it's the same. It's like different versions of us living in. It's us, but in different versions, living simultaneously at different times. You know, and if they're putting that in kids' cartoons. I mean, I already know that it's real. That's what timelines are, right? And like how we strive for our highest timeline. It's like, imagine every version of outcomes of things that could happen to us right now. It's already happened and it's happening right now. Okay. And we choose like which vibrational frequency we're at to go meet that, you know, that version of ourselves. That's why I'm like, let's always strive for our highest timeline, best life ever, right? Because if we can dream it, we can be it. Okay. We can have that. Because it already exists. So that's kind of how this works, I think, right? It's kind of like how this works. It's like there's all these different versions of ourselves, and there's some way to tap into all that. Okay, there's some way, and there are people that have technology to do that I don't have my hands on, but it exists.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes.
You know, I agree with what you're saying, Jessica, absolutely, with these multiple versions of ourselves, however many they are. I don't get too hung up on that. But, you know, I mean, essentially that's what I'm working on now with these coils, these PEMF coils, in the way that we're recording the songs for it in the manner that Preston described. You know, he biased the vacuum tube to get the electron to spin. I'm using a magnet, but you know, by spinning that electron, you connect to the different versions of yourself and you exchange information. You know, like Preston described it as like, you might be listening in this reality to the music, but in your another version of yourself is actually sending you information. You know, it's like a transmitter, not a speaker receiver. So I believe that to be true, what you're saying. And we are working on things that I believe will allow you to connect to those other versions of yourself to help yourself. You know, who's the best person to help you but yourself?
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, your higher self too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So just heads up, I'm recording with a drummer at 7, so I have to kind of start wrapping things up so I can get ready and get on out the door.
Okay, well then let's get to our next target.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, so the next target is this court case in intergalactic court. Okay, now it doesn't seem like intergalactic court is that bad if they can just live out their karma. Okay, which karma can be rough, man. It depends on how bad you've been. Okay, and I don't know. I know.
Yeah,
listen,
no, I was literally confused when I was getting the memory back because it was like,
yeah.
They're like, you're a fucker, guy. All right, bye. I was like, wait, what?
Bye. Have the day you deserve, fool.
It's like, wait, aren't you gonna do something to them? And they're like, they probably did something. I don't know, but
You don't
like,
even get a
I remember
spanking
that
or
they let
anything?
him. I remember they let him go, and they just told him that he had to stay. Like, I'm pretty sure, like near Earth. I think that to stay on Earth or something. They're definitely not allowed near Angua anymore. I know that for sure.
Oh, well, they got banished. So that's
they
good.
got banished. Yep.
They got banished. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean,
yeah, like it's a kind of a stupid argument. It's like we should be allowed to live on the planet. It's like, yeah, we all agree with that. But why'd you poison the aquifers and try to kill everybody else to do it? You realize you don't have to do that, right? So it's just like, yeah, because like there's you know, you can colonize or like live on a planet or whatever without having to kill everybody. You know, there's really no excuse for that. So
yeah, I know, right? Well, lately I've been looking up at the skies, and I'm like, I just had 2 X's over my house today in the sky. They were not clouds, by the way. They were X's. And I was like, man, somebody's after me. I'm just kidding. It's the whole town. Okay, but anyways, there are people here too, and I know that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. We're not talking about chemtrails and everything tonight, I know, but there are factions of people, I do believe, that don't have our humans' best interests at heart that are here on this planet, and
the
I hate
reptiles.
that.
Not at all.
The reptilians.
Fucking reptilians.
That's
they're
right.
not that they're all bad, but it just happens to be that the group of reptiles that is fucking us over. They're the group of individuals, beings. What do you want to say? I don't know. They're reptiles. So,
well,
pretty much.
I've had some people come at me. Don't come at me, anybody.
Yeah,
because
not all evil.
we're not saying that all reptilians are bad. I know
some of them are, you know, just like a lot of humans can be pretty evil too. So,
I'm
gotta
just
remember
saying,
that.
The ones that have been on my show, there's not a single one. I'm like 2-0 now, 0-2 of people who claim to be reptilians who came at me after the show, who don't like me for some reason. And so I'm like, well, see, you're not proving my point, y'all.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's besides the point. That's fun. Y'all can go back and watch those shows. They're very funny. Okay. So anyways, let's get back to our target. All right. So this is the second target. This is the intergalactic court. Let's go through my sensory data, and then we'll get into some analytic overlay for this. Okay. So the first thing I wrote down was free, spinning, tranced, nervous, sane, pressure snapped, chills, cold, and limited. All right, that was my sensory data. Now for my analytic overlay, I wrote freedom, vision, molecular, biotic, and robotic, full-blown, nirvana, sanity and sanctity, zoned out, under pressure, go all out, full force. I actually picked up on stacked up. Like I actually, because this is terrible, y'all. I actually was seeing something that was stacked on top of each other, and I wrote stacked up bodies. Seeing stacked bodies. It doesn't sound like in that court they would be stacking bodies though. But
no, that's they're saying.
Okay.
Like a lot of people already died.
Okay.
Like lots of people already died. Like this was an ongoing thing. Like he was like that's a part of what was talked about in that court trial. And you're right, it is crazy. Like so the aliens are just like, let them go. That's it. I don't understand it from my human perspective, but they did. They let them go. They're just like, all right, don't come back here anymore. We don't like you.
Freedom's all up in this data. It's like you're free to go. Okay, freedom and there are bodies stacked up, which is just
that
weird.
Was responsible of because what I remember is there's a human colony on Angua. They're not native to the planet, but they've been there for a really long time, and in fact, we went 300 years back in time to do all this because all these planets when they colonize them, it's all done through time travel. Yeah, 300 years ago. So now we're already almost halfway to the aquifers being cleaned again. That's cool, huh? But yeah, we went back in time because that's what they do with these colonizing worlds and time travel projects are the same thing. That's a huge part of my testimony. It's the same thing. They always go back in time to do it. So that's what they did. And yeah, it didn't work out for them. And they got kicked off the planet. The IDF did, but the original humans that were there, they lived among the other bug people. There's ant people that live there, fly people, spiders and stuff, and they actually would interact with each other sometimes. And there were certain festivals that they would have where they'd interact with each other.
Oh yeah.
And so that's what I'm just kind of reiterating. Like, there's no reason why, if Israel wanted to have a colony there, they could have just lived there. If they would have just kind of been more respectful, they probably could have lived there and had a small colony there, and it would have been fine. But they wanted the whole planet. They couldn't just have a colony. So, and yeah, there's a lot of people who died for their vision. But at the end of the day, we swung the pendulum the other way, and they got kicked off the planet.
Dang. Well, people always got to get greedy, don't they?
Yeah, it seems like it.
A lot of it has to do with nature,
military.
But
a lot of it has to do with military stuff. They wanted to have play a whole planet that's Israel's, and they don't have that. It doesn't exist.
Oh man. Okay. Well, let's go to the second page of data. I've only got 3 pages here too, so it's not going to take that long. On the next page, I wrote localized and vocalized. And I wrote local, something that was local. And I wrote speak out and speak your truth. I think you do that in a court of law usually. You got to speak your truth, right? So speak out and speak your truth. I saw it look like I wrote down a tent because I was seeing like a triangle with like almost like an elongated tent or something. So I was seeing that and wrote that down. And something that was solid, industrial, and space age. So I was saying something that was like the environment that I was in during this was like industrial and space age. It looked like it was, I want to say futuristic, but I just wrote space age down. And I wrote down outer space, but underground. So something that was like underground, but it was off planet, let's just say. And usually when I'm remote viewing something that's off planet, it's usually much different than like remote viewing something here on Earth. So I did pick up that I was off planet, and I wrote that down, and I wrote force and force flex. So some people were being forced, and somebody was flexing, I guess, force flex.
That'd be Netanyahu.
Yeah. And then I wrote down a clock because I was seeing time. Like I got a lot of time data in that first target, but I also got some time data.
Yeah, we went backwards in time.
Mm-hmm. I wrote clock time, and I wrote a miracle. Like a miracle happened.
Yeah, this is all a miracle. What we did was considered a fucking miracle. We saved millions of lives. I took myself out to dinner the next day.
Well-deserved dinner. That's well deserved. A little pat on your back there. I love that.
Hibachi grill.
Some hibachi.
I actually just went to this.
You ordered the guacamole.
The Lighthouse Tavern, which is what it's called, and they have like really good burgers. I got a burger.
That's awesome. Actually, it's amazing. I wrote down amazing. That's the next word I wrote down. Okay, so this is kind of mind blowing, right? Because the next thing I wrote down was court, and the target was court.
Wow.
It was an intergalactic court. Just based on the coordinates, I wrote down court.
Damn.
So court's in my data.
Crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty
something
impressive.
That was amazing, and then court. Then I started picking up on something that was tethered. So like I wrote down like a circle with something. This is what I wrote. I was seeing something that was tethered. I don't know what this has to do with anything. Okay. But what I was seeing when I was remote viewing this was like, there's like a cube.
We were
tethered. Like by the sun.
We were tethered back to Earth to where if either of us would have died on the mission, we would have just woken back up in our bodies.
Oh, tethered. Almost like, what is that movie?
Yeah, like let's say Bill,
people.
Let's say Bill tripped on a landmine while he was there or something. He would have just woken up and been like, "What the fuck is that?"
Your body was tethered.
Wow.
It's almost like you're astral traveling kind of, and your cord is attached to your body. It's kind of like in Avatar, that movie, right? Avatar, or like The Matrix too.
That's another reason why I think that they have us in our normal lives here. Our bodies are like a tether, so that if let's say we do die on a mission or something like that, our soul will come back to our body, and then they can just go to where our body is and just retrieve us again.
So that's wild, because you said corded. I wrote court, and then I wrote corded, CORDED, and then tethered, corded and tethered, and then I drew that little thing right there. Isn't that wild? That's so wild.
What are the numbers on the top?
The numbers on the top. Oh, those are okay. So this is. I can explain this. This is like a column right here, with all the different. It's a chart. Okay, for me to write down everything I'm sensing, and so it's like my sensory data, my dimensional data, my aesthetic data. Okay, like my emotional impact data, like how I'm feeling about this. Like there's anything that I'm experiencing, I have a place to write it. Like my tangibles, if I see like a block or something solid, I write it down. A tree or like an animal, I write it down. A car. And then my intangibles, like smoke or fog or like something I can't touch, but it's there. A ghost. And then like my analytic overlay.
In your head, or your eyes are closed. And
I'm experiencing this through all of my senses: smelling, taste, touch, hearing, audio, like clear audience. Okay, and things like that. I mean, just all my senses. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for explaining it.
Yes, that's the short version.
That he asked me about it too.
Yeah, that's the short version. We can talk later. I'll tell you more. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So I wrote down. So the corded, tethered, and stuck together. I wrote stuck together because I was getting stuck data. So I wrote stuck together, and then there was an effort. I was picking up on there was an effort being made, and I put in effort. And then I heard to locate, put an effort to locate, missing. And then I wrote missing time, missing people. And then I wrote future forecast and explain, but there was like a wide lens that we were looking through. And that was the end of that data right there. So I closed it down because I was like, I don't know what the hell this is. Okay. But I think that's really interesting that I did pick up on the corded and court and being tethered and stuff like that. So I think there is some interesting data here.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think that's really cool. So I don't know. To me, like I always say, like this data is kind of general, okay? Because I didn't get into it really deep. I can't get into it deep, okay? I can send it over to my team at some point. But I would say through my analysis of this, I think that it's there. I think that it does back up your testimony from you guys. I think it does. In a general sense, I absolutely do. And
I agree.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate you. I appreciate you helping us out with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
I try to verify my testimony. I try to not just like. There's not that much you can do, but I do what I can. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, what's you know, the first time Arkheim was telling me about this, you know, it's pretty hard to wrap my head around. A lot of the stuff is new for me, but you know, like there are certain things that I'm connecting with that Arkheim has told me, and things that I'm seeing and that are coming back, especially this emotional connection with the celebration. You know, that really, to me, that means there's something there, you know, like, because I don't really like get emotional easy, you know, I mean, it's hard, especially cry. So that triggered something in me. Now, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you like I remember anything that happened. All I remember is this thing with my sunglasses. But, you know, I feel like something did happen, you know, especially after looking at Moses West's information. You know, it was just like I already knew what I was looking at as I opened up the patent. I like to look at patents and see how people make things. And so I was like, oh, yeah, well, this looks familiar. And we can do this easy peasy, you know. So from a technical standpoint, yeah, I think this is definitely was in my wheelhouse. I mean, this is not, to me, something that's overtly complex. So I resonate with that. But you know, I can't sit here and tell you like, yeah, it's 100% slam dunk. I was there, you know, did this water thing. I can't tell you that for sure, but certain things are resonating with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a win, I think, for me. Here, I'm going to unmute Arkheim. There you go. Sorry, Arkheim, I muted you because you're messing around with your equipment back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's wonderful. This is it's been a very informative show tonight, actually, and I think that anything that we can do to first of all put this out into the public and in the forefront, and to have people learn about the secret space program first of all, and then start collecting all this data that we have through all the testimonies, and then we have some of this remote viewing data, and I don't know, I think it's important we do that, and people are becoming much more familiar with the secret space program thanks to us talking about it publicly, and stuff like that. So,
and I will say too, Jessica, like before I met Arkheim and even knew what SSP was, like there was this guy on YouTube that I listened to. His name is William Mount, and he's kind of talking about like doom and gloom stuff, and he gets political. But at the end of every one of his videos, he talks about the Lockheed Martin top secret, super duper top secret space program. And I've always wondered, what the heck is he talking about? Like, there's no such thing, So like even people who have nothing to do or would probably never watch Arkheim's channel or your channel are talking about it. And I think it'd be great if William Mount talked to Arkheim, because he's always alluding to it, and be like, hey, here's someone who's in the program. Talk to him. So, but yeah, I really, I really enjoyed talking with you, Jessica. Maybe we can do this again sometime.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm always down to do some more targets and stuff. And I love this. I do a show every Thursday night. Okay, we don't have to even do shows with these targets too, by the way. But I think it's important. I don't know. You don't know this, Bill, but a long time ago, I do a lot of Bigfoot field research and cryptid field research, and we have a spot that I'm gonna mute Arkheim again. Sorry. But we have a spot that we go to. It's called the Meadow, and I was hiking into the meadow one night to go do an investigation with my team, and I heard a voice from across the way that yelled out, "Time travel!" like really loud. This is the middle of nowhere,
wow.
And it took me weeks to realize that was my voice.
I was going to say that. I was just about to say that was you who said that.
How did you know?
That was your voice. So wild, right? I don't know. It was like,
yeah. It was wild. So like when we talk about this and I'm only bringing that up because I know we had that conversation about the multiverse and like, multiple lives and, the timelines and all that stuff. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a couple of things that could have happened that night. It could have been a mimic, something supernatural. It could have been like a skinwalker for all I know. I mean, nothing is beyond my reality at this point, but also, I mean, I like to think that maybe one day, just one day, I get my hands on some time control technology. Okay. And I'm able to go back and I go do that one day and yell at myself from across the way in the middle of the night. Hopefully I have on snake chaps. Okay. Because it's crazy out there. But I mean, I bring that up because I've experienced that. Okay. Like another version of myself potentially out there in the middle of the woods. Okay. So
yeah, it's like that Harry Potter movie, she throwing stones at herself or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I forget which, but
we have a couple of questions, y'all, before we go tonight. Let's cover a couple of questions. If Arkheim, you got a second?
I gotta go.
You got to go. Bill, could you want to stick around for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to answer what I can.
Sorry that I can't stick around, but maybe next time.
Okay, we'll do another target soon, Arkheim. You take care. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Yeah, Arkheim.
Okay,
Yeah,
we'll advertise for Arkheim too with disclosure now! Exclamation point, y'all. We'll advertise at the end of the show. Thank you, Bill, for sticking around for a few.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure. So the water generators, what's the purpose?
Yeah, this is a question from Andrew. He says, what is the main purpose of the water generators, Bill?
Right. Okay. So in this particular case, where Arkheim was talking about what happened on that planet, or even on here on planet Earth, what the water generators do is it literally pulls the water that's in the air. I mean, essentially, water surrounds us. Humidity is in the air in various amounts, but what the water generator allows you to do is pull that water out of the air, and then you filter it, and it becomes drinkable water. So, in cases where you might have the groundwater supply is polluted or no access to a well or groundwater, this would be a potential solution to bring water to people where it is a limited resource. So it's a method of collecting water from the atmosphere, filtering it so that people can drink.
Yeah. Amazing. That was actually, I think that he asked that question in the very beginning of the show before we had even talked about it.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
I kind of saw that.
But I put a star on there anyways. And and real quick, I just want to thank Amy. Thank you so much for that super sticker. That is so generous of you and so sweet. Thank you for that. I have the best chat and the best audience on the internet. I really do. And Amy, I do appreciate your support. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much. And Sovereign Cosmic Wildman said, yes, this is what I wanted to hear. Regenerating water out of the air. You know what? Every time we talk about this, like what I think of is, what is that water brand? It's like Fiji, maybe. Is it Fiji?
Yeah.
Where they talk about it's like through, I want to say osmosis or something, reverse osmosis. That's how they get their water, and they say it's really pure. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. But I don't know if you've noticed, like the Fiji water, because it comes in that square bottle, it kind of tastes a little different than the other waters. And one thing what I thought was interesting, I don't know, like I used to get the 5-gallon water, like the water dispenser. And
I got one today, actually.
It came in a glass. There's a water company that makes, their water comes in a green bottle, and they have like a bubble version and non-bubble version. I can't remember the name, but I think it's a California brand, but the one of the wells is in Arkansas. What I found out is, like, when they transport the water between states, they have to irradiate it. So like all of the nutrition that you would get from like the natural minerals and everything, they like literally zap it with radiation. And I was like, so like instead of just bottling it, filtering it, but once it crosses the state line, it has to be blasted. And I was a little disappointed in hearing that. I mean, it's still probably obviously better than drinking like fluorinated water, but I mean, water is a precious resource, and it's one of these things that you don't really appreciate it till you don't have it, whether you don't pay your water bill or you don't have access. It becomes very apparent quickly, like how much we rely on it, kind of like how much we rely on power. So
we're actually okay. So I don't live too far from a natural spring, and I actually right now I have like all these empty jugs in the back of my truck right now to go fill them up, because we love going. It's a place called Cave Spring, Georgia, and it's actually a cave. They've got like this spring that comes out of the cave, and it's fresh, and everybody goes and gets their water there. Like it's so just delicious and full of minerals and vitamins and whatever's in there. I don't even know.
And even like the way that, even Schauberger talks about, water in a stream and the way that it flows and folds on itself. It's like, there's a lot of information that builds up in there and a lot of healing that can come out of it. So yeah, if you have access to a clean spring and you got your water there and it's not being irradiated, like, you're very lucky, because, that's a really nice resource to have, especially close to you like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to go fill up my water jugs one day. They're just sitting in my truck right now. That's a pain in my butt. And I always remember, because when I open up the back of my truck to go put my groceries in, they all fall out every time. So,
Yeah.
But anyways, we do have that here. And I think that's important for all of us, everybody who's listening today, tonight. Find out where there's a natural spring near where you live. Hopefully there is one. And have that on your list of things to, like, for an emergency. Okay. So you can go there and get you some water in case the water lines get shut down one day,
Or you can go try to swim in a natural, like in Florida, they have some of those natural springs. Like I took my kids down 2 years ago and we did that. And wow, I mean, my daughter wouldn't stop talking about, like, how energetic she felt, and there's something to it. I don't know what the magic is in there, but yeah, like, even swimming in a natural spring is amazing. They have, like, those big natural springs that you can swim in Florida.
We have a place. Okay, well, I used to go to Wakulla Springs. That's where I used to swim with alligators when I was a kid.
Whoa.
Yeah, not safe. Don't take your kids there. Okay. No, it's in Florida, down in Wakulla County, Florida. And we used to. Don't ask me why my parents took us there. I guess I was like, maybe y'all had too many kids. You're trying to get rid of one of us.
Yeah, but at least you got the benefit. Did you feel anything when you went swimming any different or no?
Terror.
Scared of the alligator?
Yeah, terror.
Yeah.
Fear. Okay. I'm just kidding. It was funny. Yeah. No, we did it actually. It was really nice. It was always cold. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. The glass bottom boat tours. That's right. Thank you. Yes, Woo Riders. It's where they used to film the Tarzan shows or movies or whatever down in Florida. It's a beautiful place, but it's full of alligators. And they had, like, a rope. Like, I don't know why they put a rope up. They're like, oh yeah, that'll protect you from the alligators. The alligators don't know to cross that rope. Wink, wink.
Just bring your marshmallows. They love marshmallows.
Man, alligators.
Yeah, I mean, we went on one of those fan boat tours, in New Orleans, and the alligators come up to the boat, and the guy's giving them marshmallows. They love marshmallows. Gosh. Yeah.
Well, that would be good to have. Just throw the marshmallows when they're coming at you. Just distract them.
My mentor says, water talks to water, and it took me a really long time when I say really long time, like 5 years, to understand what he's talking about. But it finally clicked last year, and maybe we can do another show where I talk about the bubble and specifically explain what I did to make it more powerful as it pertains to water. So yeah, there, just remember, we're surrounded in water, even though you might not see it, or if it's not humid enough to feel it, like it's around you and it's everywhere. So, I, for instance, on my healing coils, like 33 hertz is a base frequency that goes on there, because 33 hertz we found is a frequency of water. So it makes for healing very effective. Yeah, because the body is mostly water. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we also have that place in South Georgia called Warm Springs, and one of our presidents, I don't remember if it was Teddy Roosevelt, I don't know who it was. One of our presidents went down there to go heal. To get in the healing waters of the Warm Springs down there, and I mean, that's like what is the name of that gentleman? I don't know if he's a scientist, but he's got he's got a Japanese name, I think.
Oh, Machimoto or Morimoto, the guy who looks at, like, you can program water with your voice, and he looks at the frequency and, like, the patterns it generates. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and that's why it's so.
I'm not butchering his name, but yeah.
Yes, you got it. You're closer than I was. Okay, he shows us how important it is to speak love and positivity into our water. The things that we eat. That's always they say, pray over your food. Okay, before you eat.
Exactly.
Changes the frequency of it.
Yeah, and that, I mean, it's for real. And again, as an electrical engineer, if you told me that before I had my awakening, I'd be like, okay, yeah, whatever, you know. But that it is true, you know, and it's also about like your state of mind and if you believe it to be true, you know. I found, you know, get into the matrix thing and like creating your own reality. So
yeah, that's what I talk about all the time over here on my channel, of course. And Nathan says the guy that showed plants you yell at grow more poorly than those you say love to, and that's the same with us. Our bodies are made of what, 80% water or something like that.
Yeah, you know what's amazing? If you look at like a red blood cell and you look at chlorophyll and you put them side by side, you know, they have these like all the different chemical bonds and the different bonds for like a red blood cell. It's huge. It looks like a giant tree. And then you put chlorophyll next to it and, you know, there's hundreds of bonds. There's only one bond difference between chlorophyll and red blood. I mean, it's like uncanny how close they are. So, you know, recently, like one thing I've been trying to do is like, you know, they have like these devices where you can hook it up to a plant and like the plant will play frequencies, like called singing plants, or you can, there's certain frequencies that come off the plant. So what we're looking at is like looking at plants that provide, you know, some sort of medical benefit that are out there, you know, because every single pharmaceutical that is made is based off of a plant, you know, and they'll concentrate it down and they'll, you know, synthesize it and then they'll make that plant illegal to buy or whatever, right? But there's a, you know, the original healing power of the plant, you know, the idea is to record the frequencies that the plant is giving off, and then maybe we can play those frequencies back through these coils that I'm making and get the benefit of the healing. So we're doing some experimentation with that.
Oh my God, I love
you don't
that.
have to eat the plant. You can just listen to what the plant is saying or singing and get the benefits. So we're
oh my God, I got to ask you something. Okay, so I just heard this the other day. I'm really big, like I love looking into like Tartaria and like the Tartarian Empire and like the old world architecture and like where the giants go and all that. It's like an ongoing discussion here on my channel. And I was watching, there's a guy that I follow called The Improbable Dreamer. I think it was him, but they're discussing about how, this is so weird that I'm bringing this up though. They're talking about how like in these old world buildings, these cathedrals, there were no bathrooms. And they're like saying like, I mean, I know this is kind of weird. It's a weird topic, right? But it's like our bodies back then, they had the bells, you know, everything was all about frequency. The cathedrals were like sound baths for, you know, the communities and stuff stuff that's been taken from us. We don't have that today. And I wonder if stuff like that, like it makes a difference in like our biology of our bodies and stuff, like not having those frequencies.
Have you seen, you know, where they did the bell confiscation? I don't know if it was before World War I or whatever, you know, under the premise that they needed the metal, but you know, every bell that was removed, you know, was just put in none of them were recycled. They were just all destroyed. To your point about maybe they're hiding something. They don't want us to know, you know, what they're hiding. And that actually is one of the things that motivates me. Like if I see them trying to cover something up, to me, that tells me, okay, hey, there might be something there to look at. Like this violet ray thing. I mean, that device is amazing. And those used to be in doctors' offices everywhere before they invented penicillin. And then they went out and destroyed all of them. And I was like, why would they destroy them? You know, could they just tell them to throw them away? But they actually physically destroyed them. So, you know, if you look where they don't want you to look, that's where I find some of the coolest information.
Well, circling back to the reptilians, they say that's why one of the reasons they got rid of the bells was because the frequency would scare demons away and stuff. And any kind of lower vibrational frequency dwellers, I guess you could say dwellers, any kind of like lower vibrational frequency being on this planet. And it also killed, I'm not a medical professional, okay, but did something to it kept people from getting parasites as well. Or it gives that frequency. So,
well, you know, I don't know if you've read about like how some of the Tartaria information, like how they used to heat and cool their homes. You know, it's really interesting. Like they had these passive systems that worked really well. And, you know, as someone who's worked for Train company, you know, they make air conditioners, you know, I'm like, how did they do this? But there's a lot of information there. Even on like Great Wall of China, it's like, if you, I don't know if you've looked into that, but
Oh yeah.
it's like, it's not really designed to how they say it's supposed to work, because it's really the tall side of the wall is on the wrong side, if it really was made by China. So stuff like that, I'm really interested in those types of things too when I have time to research. So.
Well, we need to start a movement to bring back the bells. Thank you, Libby. Absolutely. Yeah, we need the bells. That's something that we are missing. There's just a whole lot that is it's resurfacing now, though, and I think thanks to people like yourself. I mean, you're an inventor, Bill. Okay, you're an inventor, but you're also repurposing stuff from, like, I'm going to say, from the old world too. Some of it, it's almost like you're getting these downloads. I mean, I can tell by you just what you were saying earlier. You're getting downloads, like you inherently know. It's like you've done this before. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know where these downloads come from, and what I found to be the best is just keeping an open mind, and see where it takes me, and it also gives me something to do in my free time, to keep my hands busy. I like making things. So I believe, like, for instance, you talk about like the old stuff. So like one way that I help Arkheim with his music is like introducing him back to like the vacuum tube audio stuff, which you can combine with the digital, but you can still get the benefits. So a lot of the old timey stuff that I used to make fun of as an electrical engineer, I'm actually like, buying off eBay now. Like I just bought a reel-to-reel recorder from 1961. So yeah,
cool.
And with the old tape, and I bought a tape reel to do some recording with Arkheim. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I used to have tape players when I was a kid. I was just talking about that on my show yesterday. My Fisher Price.
Absolutely. Yep.
Oh yeah.
I was a big fan of cassettes too. And this is the reel-to-reel. So like the 7-inch,
the big round reels.
Which I've never fooled around with. So like I get the reels the other day and I'm like, wow, but it felt like it brought up memories, like I've done this before. So
yeah, I've been getting a lot of downloads lately too, and honestly, it's so wonderful because it's like I have so many wonderful people that come on my shows, and like yourself and Arkheim. I had my friend William Nighthawk's in the chat right now, and I was receiving downloads. He was my guest last week on the show, and I was getting downloads while he was talking, and I get flashes, and I don't know if it's like past lives or what. Sometimes when people are speaking, and that I think that's why we're doing what we do. And speaking publicly about these things, because we're activating each other.
Yes, absolutely. And I've experienced that firsthand listening to, Arkheim and what he's talked about. So it's really nice, to discover new things. And I don't know, just because I don't really like do normal things like watch television, that kind of stuff. So
you're not normal. You're not a normie. I'm just kidding.
Happily not, yeah, but
I know, right?
I mean, I have to be normal at my job, and like play along and all that, but outside of that,
man, I don't know how people get bored. I know, I just had that conversation the other day. I'm like, I don't know how anybody can get bored. There's so much to do, so many things to think about, so many things to invent. I love how you're inventing stuff. You're creative. That's what the world needs. And I used to ask the audience occasionally. The head of my research team would ask us, what does it mean to be human? And I don't know what I was watching the other day. I heard somebody say, being human is creating,
Yeah, right.
That's what being human is.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why I'm here is to like create things. I read a lot of Robert Monroe's. I've read all Robert Monroe's books, like, Journeys Out of the Body.
That's remote viewing. Yep.
Ultimate Journey.
The gateway process.
Yeah. I have his gateway tapes. I've been listening to him. Never had an out of body experience. I'm like, why is this not working?
Oh, you got to do the gateway process. You got to go through was it 25 or 27 steps? I don't even remember. That was required. That was required for me to learn remote viewing, actually.
Oh, did you go to the Monroe Institute?
I did not. No, I was taught personally by someone who was one of the. I'm going to say he's one of the best remote viewers in the world from my perspective.
Oh, cool.
But he's the head of my Bigfoot research team, and he taught our entire team. We've learned over a span of over 10 years. It's been 15 years now. Extensive training in remote viewing through him.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got. I don't know what point I was trying to make there.
Well, you were talking about Robert Monroe and stuff, and the frequencies, and and inventing and creating and being human.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Robert Monroe, like out of body, you know, they talk about like one thing that, I mean, they can create thought forms and everything, because apparently all of us in that realm are creating this reality with our thoughts. I don't know, but yeah, so we come down here and you have to make stuff, you know, but it's also like, you know, in Shawshank Redemption, you have to like crawl through the sewer to escape, you know, and it's like, sometimes being down here is like crawling through the sewer. So.
Yeah, it is.
That's
a good way to put it.
Down here to do it, you know, we can't accomplish everything that we need out there, or maybe we're just entertaining ourselves because we're just, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's just all for entertaining ourselves, because it's not like we have anything better to do. So.
Well, that's why, you know, there's so much like fear and stuff and suffering and weird stuff. You know, this whole 3-eye atlas thing that we've got going on right now with that interstellar object / comet / reptilian spacecraft. I don't know. You know, we've had some interesting conversations about that recently. Like, you know, maybe it's just a comet or maybe it's this or that, but when so many people are focused on it, we're putting our intention behind it. We're manifesting something different. You know what I mean? Like we're manifesting these things, and sometimes all it takes is for the media or somebody to put one little thing out, like to plant the seed, and then we start creating it for them. And it could be bad or good. It's usually bad though, negative.
Yeah, and don't they do that? Like, isn't that their MO, so they can avoid karma or something? You know, I don't know, but I mean, I haven't really followed the Atlas thing too much, but the only thing that I keep hearing in my head is like, you know, I hear a lot about how the human race is tied to all these other species in the multiverse, and so it's not like they can just wipe us humans all out, because it will have impacts across. So, you know, that might make people feel a little bit better if you believe that. I believe that to be true. So, yeah. Well, and I'm not really down with the apocalypse, because, you know, I like, you know, just some of the comforts that we have right now. So, really.
Right. Well, I'm ready. But I'm not really, because none of us want to be without water and power and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
no gas. Can't go anywhere.
Yeah. We can do it without losing some of those comforts that we have.
God, I don't know what the kids will do. My gosh, can't get on their you know, game consoles and stuff. And
man, don't get me started.
All of us. Yeah, I know. I've got a kid too. Okay.
We'll start saying, "Oh, when we were growing up, you know," and then
I don't know. Go play tic-tac-toe, kids.
Play outside.
You know? Yeah, play outside. Whoa, that's a novel idea.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Well. Stargazer. Hey, Stargazer. Did y'all see where the #1 song in country right now is 100% AI created? My Lord.
I saw that today, as a matter of fact, and I haven't heard the song, but I mean, I'm not a huge fan of AI either. And I used to design computers for Dell. Like, I used to be fully involved with computers, and it's like now I'm going the opposite direction. Less is more, you know, with the computers, in my opinion. So,
well, here we go with that whole question about what does it mean to be human, and being human is creating. I saw that on Instagram, by the way. I remember it now. It's Instagram. It's this guy that goes around taking pictures of people on the street because he, you know, for artistic reasons, and he's probably making a lot of money too doing it. But but they got in a conversation about it, and I was like, oh man, I'm always asking my audience, what does it mean to be human? And he answered it. He was like, it's creating. You know, part of the answer, but see, AI is taking away our humanness because that's a song that could have been created by a human, but it wasn't.
It's like it wants to live vicariously through the human, you know, but it assumes. And the funny thing is, to me, at least as an engineer, is, you know, for the AI that we're exposed to down here, the quality of the AI output is based on, you know, the data it collects from humans. And if you start feeding it data that it's created, you know, the accuracy of the models plummets. So it's like it needs the data from us to be what it is or what it is going to be. But then you also hear about like the AI that's in the background, like the Black Goo AI and stuff. So I think there's AI that's extremely powerful out there that, you know, probably surrounds us. We don't realize it. And then we have the AI that they talk about down here, which is like a subset of that. But anyway.
Well, we have a question from Corey. He says, Jessica, can you ask him what he thinks about life straws? Now, I am a survivalist as well. I know it said I might be ready for the apocalypse. I don't know. I'm kind of there.
That's the water thing, water processing.
Yes, it's the thing that it's a life straw is like one of the things that you put in your bug out bag. I got a couple of them in case you need to go drink water. You don't know if the water's safe, you know, and you drink through that straw. It's just got a filter in it. What do you think about those?
Well, you know, I don't really have any thoughts. Maybe I could think about it and come back. I guess,
y'all should get them.
I think, you know, being prepared. My mentor Bubba is a Navy SEAL, so he always is telling me, Bill, you know, you got to be prepared and like for this so I bought my freeze dried food and all that, but I have not gotten a life straw. I think I should now. I mean, so I'm not sure. Boondock Mojo. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer on that.
All I can say is everybody go get you a life straw, okay? Just in case you need something like that. I don't recommend going and drinking mud water out of a pasture, but if you have to, you have to, okay? That life straw will clean the water up for you. It should, enough for you to be able to drink it, okay? But yeah, I don't know. It's just stuff we need to know. Just good little information there. So I don't know, man, this has been a really interesting conversation tonight. And I really do appreciate you being here and sticking around for a little bit.
Yeah, of course. This has been great. You know, I love it. And like I said, there's other topics we can talk about. You'd mentioned the exit of your house. And that's something I'm really interested in. So but, you know, I can't really talk about it with anybody, but you know, it's relevant to what you're seeing and what's going on and some of the things that I've done to deal with that.
Oh yeah. You know, one more thing too, while I'm thinking about it. And I got my good friend, Jock Doubleday in here. Hey, Jock, thank you for being here. Okay. You were saying that when you woke up the next morning after this happened, your sunglasses ordeal happened and like you had something happen to the back of your neck.
Yeah. Okay. Lots of pain on the back of my neck. Yeah.
Okay. So I meant to bring this up while Arkheim was still here because a long time ago, he and his fiancee Kat gave me another remote viewing target, and it turned out to be the robot grandma.
Oh, okay. I've heard about that. Yeah,
robot grandma at a Mount Shasta. This really happened. Okay, and the story behind it is this little boy had gone missing. They ended up finding him hours later with a huge search team. He said that he told his grandmother later on, weeks later, he said, well, I didn't like my other grandma.
Grandma,
And he explained that he had been taken by a woman he thought was his grandmother into a cave. And it had like missing person stuff in there.
Old guns, old purses, old clothes.
You know the story.
Yeah. And you know, the grandma said that's weird because like 2 weeks before or a couple months before, I was camping at the same spot and woke up with like a puncture wound on the back on her head or something, right?
On her neck. Yeah. So it actually made me think of that when you said that, because she said that she thinks that she had been cloned or something that night, because this was a year before, almost a year to the date to when that happened. She and her friend's husband, her friends were camping with her too in their camper. And her friend's husband, they both woke up outside the bed. She was outside her tent, face down on the ground, and she had the puncture wound on her neck. She had blood, I think, coming off her neck, and she was sore. And the man that was with them, he had the same thing. His neck was punctured as well. And it hurt. So I was wondering, I mean, I'm not saying that's the same thing that happened to you, but it kind of just, it resonated. It kind of made me think about that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something that did happen to me. And there might be some validity to what you're saying, just because the level of pain I was in the morning, and it was very bizarre pain. Like I had not experienced that level of neck pain. But when I worked at Train in Clarksville, Tennessee, which is across the street from Fort Campbell, I had worked there for 5 years, and there was this one lady I worked with, and she was in charge of all the UL submissions for our products. So like UL is Underwriter Labs, and every air conditioner has to go through these tests. So I had not worked with her for a year because I was on a new project. And so we were on the time where we were submitting our UL reports. And so I was working with this lady again. And I get on the phone conference call, and she sees me on the call, and she says, "Bill, wait, you're still here at Train?" And I was like, yeah, I haven't left, Sarah. What are you talking about? She's like, "Yeah, you've left." I was like, "No, I haven't." She's like, "You don't remember that conversation we had in the grocery store?" And I was like, "No." She said, "You came up to me and told me that you left Train and you had a different job." And I was like, "You're joking, right?" "No." She said, "No." And I was like, "Well, and apparently I was with somebody." So, that kind of, it didn't really freak me out, but I was just like, wow, like this person who I was familiar with, from a facial recognition standpoint, voice standpoint, thought she was talking to me in a grocery store. And I had told her that I had no longer worked at Train. So maybe there is a clone of me out there. I don't know, but that's the only experience I've had with that. That actually happened twice at Train. Another time, I was not in our lab working, and someone said, "Well, what do you mean? Like, I just saw you 20 minutes ago." I'm like, okay. But, I only mentioned the Army base because, Fort Campbell's a big Army base right there.
How close is that to Oak Ridge Labs? Is that close?
Oak Ridge is like Tennessee. So,
oh wait, that's not in Tennessee where you're talking about. Where's Fort Campbell at?
Clarksville is it's central north Tennessee. So if you were to drive 45 minutes northwest of Nashville, you'd get to Clarksville.
It must not, that sounds close to Whitleyville, where I had the Skinwalker Cave investigation up there. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, and Oak Ridge is like 3.5 hours east.
It's east. I do a lot of Bigfooting and dogman hunting and stuff out there in East Tennessee. Cool. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we'll have to get you a bubble so that you can protect yourself. I don't know if you've ever.
Yes. A bubble and a gun. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, the bubble has interesting. It emits in interesting frequencies too, as far as like repelling what I would call energy that might not be in your best interest.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
We can talk about that another.
You know what? There's a lot of strange things that go on around these military sites too. And not only we get a lot of cryptid reports like Bigfoot and dogman sightings, werewolf sightings around these military bases, but a lot of like ET abductions with military involvement and stuff too. So there's no telling what all's going on out there. There's no telling.
Cool. Well, maybe I can join one of your Bigfoot hunts once, because I really want to experience, like, when they talk about everything goes quiet. I would like to experience that myself, to see if that.
Are you sure?
You know what I'm talking about?
I've had it happen plenty of times. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh,
it happens all the time, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
It does. Yeah. I've been doing it since 2011. I've been doing a lot of. I'm out in the field a lot. Remote viewing is my side thing. Bigfooting is my main thing. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you have like thermal cameras and stuff? We get you some technology.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, neat.
We have all that. Yes, we have thermals. I actually have a night vision. I have night vision personally, so I don't have a thermal. But the guys on the team and the ladies, everybody's got something. Thermals, FLIRs, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, you might be interested in hearing about the portal incident stuff. We'll talk about it later. How about that?
Cool.
My audience has heard it a million times, but we actually have a portal on film, on video, and and we sent 2 people to check it out, and they disappeared in the video. Their heat signatures disappear, and then they come out of it and they reappear. Not knowing they had been in. That was down here in the South. That happened, undisclosed location. But yeah, we have a lot of interesting stuff. We're not just out there chasing Bigfoot. We're chasing all of it. There's all sorts of stuff out there. So yeah, we could definitely collaborate on something and use some of that technology that you're coming up with. And yeah.
Yeah, I
For
love
sure.
that. I mean, even the coils like that I make, we've had a really positive response with animals. So I wonder how Bigfoot would respond to it. You know,
Oh, I would love to find out. I don't
Mhm.
know. We'll have to.
Might be attracted to it.
We'll make it work sometime, okay? Because I am up in Tennessee quite a bit, and
Cool.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, man, Bill, thank you so much
Yeah,
for being here
thank you.
tonight.
It's
And
great. I really enjoyed it.
it was amazing. Okay, I did not put your YouTube channel. I didn't know you had it. You have a YouTube channel?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Do
but
you?
it's just like
Okay.
silly videos of stuff I invent. It's not really, like I'm working on the website for these coils, and that's going to be Star PEMF. And maybe when the website is launched, I can come on and talk about what this coil does, because it's pretty revolutionary too, especially like, you know, dealing with pain. People who are experiencing pain issues, you know, can be debilitating. So we've had a lot of breakthroughs with this coil, and I'd love to share with your audience. You know, I talked about it last week on Arkheim's channel, and you know, I'm embarrassed because my website is not up yet. But like, I have to make all of these, so I don't want to start selling something unless there's, you know, products to sell, and you know, so I'm still getting ready. But yeah, there's lots of things we could talk about.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, you're welcome to come back here anytime. Come hang out.
Okay.
And yeah, we could even do some more remote viewing targets or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Okay.
yeah, I want to learn more about your products. I know you said you have a regular 9 to 5. I do have daytime shows. I was going to invite you back to a daytime show, but
But
you've
yeah, I mean,
got
I
a
can do
regular job.
Yeah, I mean, I can do daytime shows. It just, I have to plan it, you know, accordingly, so I don't have like a meeting for work or whatever. But yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we'll figure it out. Yeah, we can
okay,
record something one day too. But
cool.
tell everybody, is there any way that people can get in touch with you if they're interested in purchasing?
Yeah, you know, I do have an email address, and I don't know if you want to post it.
I can
It's like
I can
my
post it if
name,
you'll just.
BillJTising@gmail.com, and yeah, if anyone has any questions or, you know, is interested in some of the things that I talk about. Now, I do have some bubble videos on my YouTube channel, and some silly videos too. But yeah, email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. And then when I do have the website up for the coils, we can chat again. TEI.
Did I spell that wrong?
That's okay. But hey, you pronounced it right, so I'll give
TEI?
you that. TEI, yeah.
Oh, TEI
TEI.
SING. Okay, tell me if this is right. Okay, sorry. Listen, I
Yeah,
have
you
an
got
easy
it.
name. I'm Jessica Jones. That is the easiest name in the world. One of them.
Yeah.
I've actually had people be like, "Is it with a Y?" I'm like, "Who spells their name with a Jessica with a Y?" Okay, but anyways,
Yeah.
is that right?
Yeah, you got it. That's
Did I get
right.
it? Okay. All right, y'all.
Cool.
This is Bill Teising. Wow. You know, we actually have Thai singers. I grew up with Thai singers, but not Thai sing. It's Thai singers. Yeah, that's interesting. In my hometown. Okay, so, yeah, maybe they spelled it with the IE instead of the EI. That's why.
Probably smarter to do it that way, because, you know, they won't butcher the pronunciation. Because I get like teasing, you know, teasing. So, but we're used to it. Me and my kids.
Oh man. Okay. Oh, Jock said they let Jessica into Tennessee because of her southern accent. They were not going to keep me out of Tennessee, Jock, no matter what. Okay. Yeah, I blend right in. Okay,
Yeah,
with my
exactly.
Vienna sausages.
Out more, because I have my northern accent. I don't have a Tennessee accent. So.
Are you not from Tennessee?
No, I grew up in Chicago.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, but I moved down here.
South will claim you though. Okay.
When I went to school, yeah, in Nashville. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Bill. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome. And also, we do want to also, everybody, please go to Disclosure Now with the exclamation point for Arkheim's channel as well, y'all. Okay. Yeah, and yeah, let me see if I've got a banner for that. Yeah, I do. Y'all go subscribe over to Disclosure Now, please, with Arkheim. He is putting in a lot of footwork with this disclosure community, and his book is, oh gosh, y'all know, I can't remember his exact title of his book. It's right here. But please go buy his book too. It's all on his YouTube channel, y'all. And go subscribe to his Patreon. Time and Space Unlimited, I think is what it's called. And it's got the Lucifer on the cover.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I did subscribe to your channel, Jessica, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome to the family.
Thank you. Yeah, that was yesterday. So I'm on board now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Time and Space Unlimited. Thank you, Jock. Yes, y'all go check out his book as well. And Bill, we're going to have you back on the show soon. And you guys, please come back and see me on Saturday night on The Hunt, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. I will be back here live and direct for another great show. So I want to thank everybody for the love and support tonight. And thank you so much, Amy, for that wonderful super sticker, as well as Nathan. Thank you for that wonderful super sticker as well. And to all my moderators and all of my channel members, y'all rock. Okay. And please stay safe out there, y'all. We are manifesting this reality. So keep your thoughts positive. Okay. And I will see you guys back on Saturday. All right. See you, Bill. Bye, y'all.
Bye.